Hello everyone and welcome to Siege, the most annoying map I've ever faced thus far. So how does Siege work? Siege, is a map that's split across, two different paths and enemies will attack from both sides of the path. And this is very annoying because the enemies are relatively strong. So yeah, we need to come up with a defense or we need to go on the offense. Before we start with any of that, first off we have to improve, our resource collection as per usual. So as you might notice, we have the same conveyor system that we had in the previous map, except this time, the boxes are already constructed for us. So all we need to do is load the boxes into the payload system, and voila, you'll automatically, bring the boxes back and forth. But what exactly are we supposed to mine? Well, on the other side of the map, we have tungsten, and tungsten is very important. It's one of the most important resources that we could have. So I've decided to build a drill. Two drills actually. Now here's the thing, we have access to flying units, but only tier 1 flying units, and this is a huge problem because the only units that could go over large walls are tier 2 flying units, and believe me, max, despite being able to go over walls, the walls are way too wide for you to go over them, so it's not possible. And since the enemies are going to come from both sides, what you want to do instead is to build a defense on one side and build an offense on the other side. Well, I mean, you should build defenses on both sides, but one defense has to be lighter, and because most of the resources, especially beryllium, are found on the left side of the base, that's where you want to build your army at. So we're going to go ahead and build an army, a tank army, on the left hand side of the map, and as for the right hand side of the map, we're going to build a rather massive defense. Now of course, we can't just forget about our other resources before that. We're going to go ahead and mine some graphite, and then we're going to build a silicon factory out of that. Also, you could also increase your beryllium output by placing an impact drill on the beryllium deposit in the ground, which makes your beryllium income increase by quite a lot, double actually. Now before we even talk about defenses, let's talk about one of the biggest problems in this map, and that is the lack of power generation. But here's the thing, you should have unlocked the pyrolysis generator right before you started this map, and if you don't, don't start the map yet. Just save up your resources from the previous map and build yourself a pyrolysis generator. Or rather, research the pyrolysis generator, because trust me, you need it. But anyway, coming back to what we need to actually do, the pyrolysis generator generates a lot of power, and not only that, it generates water as a byproduct, so it's extremely useful. And in case you're curious about the exact stats, a pyrolysis generator generates about 1500 power per second, which is quite a lot. And by a lot, I mean a lot, because yeah, in Erikir, that is a lot of power. So yeah, that is something you might definitely want to consider building, or rather you should build it, because you have access to slag on the other side of the map. So go ahead and build your pyrolysis generator on the other side of the map, and keep in mind, without enough power, if you don't have enough power, your resource generators won't be able to generate that many resources, and that's going to cause a lot of problems when you want to defend or go on the offense. So keep that in mind. Now thankfully, you just need one pair of pyrolysis generators for this to work, and yeah, spacing is tight. I could put the pyrolysis generator somewhere else, but I was trying to be a little bit more efficient. But yeah, try not to make the same mistake as me, just place the generator somewhere else. I mean, at this point they're a bit too expensive of an investment to change the location, so I just dealt with it. But you shouldn't do that, especially if you're not the best at compressing your systems. So anyway, for defenses, on the right hand side, I've placed one turret near the bunch of generators, because just in case there's an enemy that comes by, or rather skips past our main line of defense, which it will later on, as you guys will see. That turret will act as a backup, so that most importantly, our pyrolysis generators and our tungsten drills will keep on working no matter what. Now as for main line of defense on the right hand side, I've decided to go with 3 simple breaches, aka the green turrets, on the right hand side, surrounded by walls of course. And yeah, it's relatively simple, but it works, at least for the first half of your gameplay. Once enemy production has escalated to the max, you might want to go ahead and get yourself a sublimate. But yeah, you want to save your resources, so don't get a sublimate until the enemy has maxed out on their enemy production. And you'll know when they'll max out on their enemy production, don't worry. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We are also going to build the same 3 green turrets on the left hand side, except this time it's not going to be completely surrounded by walls, unlike the right hand side, because we need to leave some space for, well, the conveyor belts to go ahead and do its thing. Now you need to also start building tanks at this point, especially before enemy production escalates, otherwise you'll be in a bit of trouble here. So just get your tanks, just get some level 2 tanks, and then just reach through the first, well, mini base area, sort of. It's not really a base, there's no core here, but I consider it a mini base. And after that, you can go ahead and join it a little bit more power, which is relatively useful for increasing your power output by a little bit, because over time your pyrolysis generator won't generate enough power, but it's not going to be by that much that you need a second pair of pyrolysis generators. You can just place down the good old turbine condenser. Now after that, you want to set your, or rather bring your unit healer, aka the unit repair tower, close to wherever you're attacking. So yeah, just leave it, bring it there, repair it wherever is necessary, and you have to repair it a number of times, because the biggest problem that most people face in this map is the giant cannon, and there's actually a way for you to deal with the giant cannon that we're going to talk about later. But for now, if you want to at least patrol the area, prevent the area of the base from being rebuilt, which will make retaking it harder / complicated, then yeah, just leave your unit repair tower over there. Now ideally you don't want your units to, well, die, so whenever they have like 50% health, just immediately retreat, no matter how badly or rather how much damage you could do to the enemy turret. Don't get overconfident, just retreat when you have to retreat. Now on the second half of the base, there's actually a core that you can place down, and you should place down the core. Why is that? Because the second core will allow you to increase the total amount of units that you could produce. So with just one core, you can only have 15 units at once, but now with the second core, you can have 30 units at once, and 30 will make your army a lot stronger, especially when it's just tier 2 tanks. So yeah, go ahead and place down the second core, and then you'll realize that you can also get thorium, and thorium is required for you to build your third tier of units. So go ahead and build yourself some thorium mine, send it to the core, because you need thorium to build the generator anyway, and you don't have enough thorium. And yeah, go ahead and upgrade your units to level, or rather tier 3. And of course you're going to need a long production line, so just go ahead and build that. So coming back to the biggest problem in this map is going to be the ultra long range cannon, which is essentially a nuclear missile with infinite range. How do you deal with that? Well, the solution is actually relatively simple, although you do have to keep in mind that you do need to, well, be extremely careful. So the idea is the missile is only going to target the unit that's closest to where the missile launcher is. So the idea is you place that unit in front, well, or leave it ahead, just leave one unit in front, and well, when it's shot twice for tier 2 units, because this thing can the tier 2 units can survive 3 missile strikes before it dies. On the second strike, go ahead and retreat the unit, let it regenerate, and let another unit take over its place. Now beware not to place the troops too close, any troops close to that so-called sacrificial unit, because the area of damage done to it is relatively high, and given that it impacts a very wide area or very large range, yeah, you definitely want to keep your units outside there. Now you also want to place units away from your own contraptions, or rather your own machinery, because, well, the missile will also hit or rather affect your own buildings, and that's not fun for you, it's not fun for me. So yeah, keep it as far away from possible if you can. Make your buildings far away from any potential unit spots, let's call it. Now I did make one huge mistake, and that was going for an all-out on the third base with just tier 2 units, and that almost caused me to lose the game, because there's a lot of strong enemies coming out there, and it was incredibly difficult to defend. I lost my core once, and it wasn't fun to rebuild. It wasn't fun to rebuild everything. So ideally, just upgrade your units to tier 3, because only tier 3 tanks could reasonably destroy the base. So yeah, and keep in mind, you still have to defend against the giant missile, and if you don't, well, you can consider, you can just resign from the game, just abandon the base, and then, well, restart the entire thing, because there's no way you're going to make a comeback if the missile has, well, destroyed all your units. So yeah, if you can, get 2 unit production systems going at once, and also, from time to time, keep an eye out on the right hand side of the base, because once enemy production escalates to its maximum, your base would definitely be overrun, at which point, do remember, get the defenses that you need, aka the sublimate, because the sublimate is very powerful against ground units, and thankfully there's no air units in this area, so you don't have to worry about air defenses, well, at all. Now, of course, on your second base, you can also improve, well, efficiency in unit production. So you can go ahead and build a second factory if you want to. But really, the very least that you need is to go ahead and grab yourselves, well, another 2 pair of tier 3 unit production or other tank producers, whatever you want to call them. So once you have the maximum of 30 tanks staged in the second area, level 3, 30 level 3 tanks, that's when you can start invading the third base. And the third base actually does have another core. To place another core and save up all 45 of your units. And by the way, there's a 4th mini base to the right of the third base. Just go ahead and get rid of it. It doesn't really do anything, but it's better if you get rid of it sooner rather than later, so that, you know, there'll be more things for the enemy to rebuild, and therefore slow down the enemy progression in terms of, well, rebuilding everything. Now, of course, you can go ahead and attack the final base with just 30 units. I have no doubt that will work, but I do believe that bigger numbers means greater success. So if you want to increase your chance of success, just place down the third core and get all 45 tier 3 tanks. And then that's when you want to go for an all out. Except this time, because that core is, well, the strongest core of them all you need to do is just go straight for the core. Because once the core has been eliminated, the rest is just a simple game. Because, well, once the core is eliminated, the defenses are down and some of them will explode. Now keep in mind, there's still one more core on the right hand side. Actually, we haven't even dealt with any of the threats on the right hand side. So even though you have completed, well, the so-called most hardest part of this map, which is to get rid of the core mainly on the topmost side of the map, you still want to go ahead and head back down to, you know, get rid of the final core. But of course, don't forget to let your units heal, because just because they are 1 level lower doesn't mean that they are not that strong. They still have relatively strong defenses, so don't be neglectful. And yeah, that's it for this map. This map is actually relatively simple. Well, actually, it's not relatively simple, I'll be honest. It did take quite a lot of thinking. It took me, what, 2 weeks to figure out the strategy for this. Although, to be fair, I was a bit busy. But either way, it did take me a lot of time for me to figure out what is the correct strategy for this map. And, yeah, so I'm not sure if you guys like this new form of Mindustry videos rather than, you know, having me comment live or while I'm actually playing the thing and saying my mistakes at the same time. It's probably better if I just do one final speed run or other sped up video of me successfully playing through the entire map once, and then I go through the general idea of how you're supposed to play this map. Do tell me whether you guys prefer this format or the old format, because I think this new format might work better as both a tutorial and as for showing the insane stuff that goes on in Mindustry in order for, well, for us to be successful. So yeah, do let me know if this is a much more fun way for me to make videos. If you guys prefer the old format, just let me know in the comments, because I do genuinely think that this format is way better for my Mindustry videos, and it does make my editing job a lot simpler as well. So that means more Mindustry videos whenever I can. And yeah, I'm sorry that I haven't been posting that many Mindustry videos recently. I've been playing quite a lot of Bloons C6 because at the time I was recording this video, I was preparing for something big, which you will see in a few days time. But either way, it's been a very fun one for this map. And there will be another Mindustry video coming up soon, so do keep an eye out for it. It's going to be very fun indeed. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like if you like this video, leave a comment if you have anything else to add, and I'll see you guys in the next video.